All right, welcome to round seven. Yes, seven of the MRL Notices Championship for season 10. Uh, and I think we're going to be looking forward to what should be an interesting race. I mean, it's Bahrain, it's a track everybody knows, literally the first track that anybody would drive in the game, most likely. So, I mean, there's some good action I think we'll be able to look forward to. It's a very standard circuit, to say the least. So, going ahead and take a look at it. 15 corners to make your way around with honestly a lot of room to overtake. 3 DRS zones really help with that ability to overtake. Really, I would say the only places that a move isn't possible are in the small S section. And aside from that, honestly, every other corner is fair play. You just got to be really careful with how you do it. And even then, you can make a move through the S's, but I don't really advise it for obvious reasons. But anyways, moving on, we already have a few drivers going through their qualifying laps. So, Minico is currently in the middle of one, and my volume is way too loud on my screen. There we go, fix that. Okay, Minico is already on a flying lap as well as many others. No one has put in a full lap time just yet, but we should see a few crossing the line momentarily. I think we have a Williams getting close. Yes, it is. Midnight will be the first one to cross the line and actually set a lap. And this one isn't going to be letting anything up. Yeah, it looks like he may have just disregarded his first run. And he's going for a real run now, because you can see he hasn't burnt any battery yet. That's a more representative time from MB Jacobson, 131. Kate DePauston crosses the line, goes about half a second behind him. Meanwhile, we have many others. Minico puts in a time 129. Allen also taking a slow lap on the medium tires, so kind of back to his usual antics. Yellow Snowman also making his way around, going down the back straight. Now, it is possible to make a move down to this final corner, but really, like, I would regard this as, oh, what has happened? 5-place grid penalty for... Oh, boy, what has happened? Here's something has happened with Order Mr. Old School. That is unfortunate. I completely lost my train of thought because of that. Fantastic. Yeah, I've completely blanked. Oh, right. The final corner... It is possible to make a move there, but, I mean, I would consider one to be the worst overtaking corners, aside from this one that Sketchy just made his way through. Because, I mean, yeah, you make the move, and then immediately the person you just passed probably has DRS. So, you know, like, you make the move, and then suddenly they can just take it back on you, unless you're smart and just go for it. But again, like, it's a kind of an awkward corner, so not really an advisable one. The best overtaking spots, without a doubt, turn 1, of course, as well as turn 4. And the corner Sketchy's making his way through is also a good one if you get a good run on DRS, but that one is easier said than done. And yeah, Sketchy's a little bit off the pace. He's not exactly having a great time with this lap, but I think this is a cooldown lap anyways. He's still P5, so he's honestly doing quite well. Meanwhile, we have Gwenfro on a flying lap, as well as Normbash, and I think these are outlaps? They don't look to be burning that much. Oh, Gwenfro taking an adventure on the curbs there. Okay, there we go. And, let's see here. Who's that in the show? Average F1 block evening. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we have a Border making his way around as well. So he's on the start of a flying lap going through the S's. So qualifying, while it is important, it isn't essential. It is possible in a race like this to start from the back and finish towards the front, as evidenced by Sergio Perez in 2020. Well, technically he didn't start at the back, but you know what I'm getting at. Anyways, Tire strategies are also going to be important. Typically, the strategy is medium hard, but it is also possible if you manage your tires well to do a soft medium one-stop strategy. Uh, which, oh, there we go. That's a lap from Minico on used tires, no less. The fastest overall. Alan on mediums is second fastest. What? Oh, okay, so it's a rage quit. Okay. Name change alert. Yeah. Like I was saying, it is possible to do a soft medium strategy, which I learned on accident because I raced in tier 5. Started on the soft, hoping to do a soft medium medium. Because I thought, well, I mean, it's us. There'll probably be an early safety car, and I can make the most of it, right? There was no full safety car. So, I just kind of had to improvise, and I thought, okay, I guess I'm just going to do the standard soft medium medium. Then I got stuck behind two cars and just stayed in their DRS and thought, I'm just going to trundle along with it, and just kept on going on that. Somehow pulled off a soft medium. So, I mean, it is doable if you manage your tires well. Also, one other thing is, fuel management is really important, as I also learned on accident, because despite going a couple notches over the minimum fuel for a full race, I ended up burning more fuel than expected, so I kind of had to preserve for a part of it. So, I mean, fuel management may be an important factor for those who decide to underfuel. I mean, especially since safety cars, while they can happen, are going to be a little bit less common at a standard F1 circuit like this, unlike a street circuit like, of course, Baku or Jeddah, you know, where safety cars will be much more common, like Jeddah will be next week. So, yeah. It's going to be interesting, to say the least, to see what happens in there. And we have many others going forward. Appears to be a second run now. Okay. Not really. Alrighty. There we go. Had to make a couple of adjustments there. We have many others still on flying laps. You have Gary, who appears to be in the midst of one. Astonba as well. Many others are on out laps. So this track is going to really start lighting up soon. MK Hitch crosses the line, puts in a banger lap, goes first overall. Brilliant run from him. Well, I think Sketchy is on the start of a flying lap and already appears to be off to a good start. Yeah, he's up 3 tenths in the first sector. That's already fantastic for him. Snaky is beginning a flying lap. Benzo, meanwhile, is also on the start of a flying lap, so it looks like, who was that? Estenbach goes 4th overall. So this track is really starting to light up, and it's already looking more interesting than the real-life Bahrain Grand Prix. Although, I will say, as a certified Alpine hater, I did absolutely love the race, and I'm loving watching their downfall. I will say that. Like, no, that doesn't apply to the in-game MRL Alpine team. Ketchen and Old School are quite awesome, and you know, like in-game Alpine team is awesome. Real life, no, I have a certified hatred of them. Also Haas. So I mean, you know, anytime I see them take an L is a good day for me. And as a McLaren fan, considering where they were at the start of last year, I will very happily take P6 and P8 that McLaren got. So honestly, a great result considering this was a circuit that they said that they would not be very competitive in, quote unquote. You know, I kind of didn't buy that because they typically undersell themselves and then suddenly pop off. But meanwhile, I guess Sketchy looks like he did find some improvement, perhaps? Can't really tell. Is he on another fly right now? Okay, no, he's not. We have Old School making his way around as well, making his way down the back straight. This is looking like a pretty solid lap time thus far, but I guess we'll see once he gets to the line and see if he found any improvement at all. rounding the final corner to go and cross the line. He is going into the pits. He is not satisfied with this lap. And yeah, it would have been a second or two slower. I don't blame him. Catching though, meanwhile, a couple places up in P7, Allen goes across the line. Excuse me, a 128.7 just about. What? That's insane. That's absolutely a crazy lap. And he's just toying with the track limits. That wasn't about. Okay. Someone please explain to me how that was not track limits. Yeah, that's crazy. Meanwhile, we have Drunken Shamrock making his way around as well. Looks like he's about to go on a flyer. Oh, one other funny thing about the Alpine downfall propaganda that I have, their technical and Arrowhead, and aerodynamics head, both resigned after the Bahrain Grand Prix. So both of them literally went, "This sucks, screw this, I quit." Like, and this is a manufacturer team. They have no, like, and they have the full funding they need. They have no excuses. Haas at least has the excuse of Gene doesn't want to put in money, and Gene Haas doesn't want to put in money into the team. And even then, they still did better. Like, Kevin Magnussen got, what, a P12, I think? P13, yeah, he got a P12. Then again, Bahrain, I would honestly say, is one of Haas's better tracks anyways. Still, like, they got a P12. Meanwhile, the Alpines were just languishing in the back. The only two cars they beat were two cars that had, like, several problems. One of them was Bottas with his front wing brake, and Logan Sargent, whose brakes just completely screwed him. Like, not 97% brake bias ought to do it. That's honestly kind of insane. From Hulk looked good and then got cracked at turn 1. I mean, he cracked himself. Let's be real. Like, I saw Stroll spin, and at first I went, haha, Stroll moment, and then I actually looked at it, and then we got a replay of the incident, and I'm like, oh, okay, so that wasn't actually his fault. Stroll honestly had a good race, all things considered. Credit where credit is due. He did very well. Then again, he did kind of his usual thing of just starting quietly near the back, and then by the end of the race, he somehow gets into the points by the end, and then he's just there. Logan Sargent drives like he has his brakes, like his brakes are on all the time. I mean, yeah, I would actually disagree with that, because up until he had the braking problems, he was relatively keeping up with Alex. Like, he was genuinely doing well. Speaking of doing well, Drunken Shamrock goes 4th overall. Brilliant lap run from him. And he does well to get out of the way of several other drivers who appear to be going on outlaps. Yep, that's Minico going by, leading by a couple of other drivers. Traffic is so heavy in this first sector. Well, just around turn 1, literally the entire field is making their way through. Is that a Red Bull spun out on top of that? That's crazy. Yeah, everybody's getting ready to go for final runs. I'm curious, though, if anyone will try to do a soft, medium, one-stop. Now, as someone who actually did that strat, I was actually kind of surprised at how well the softs managed. I took them like 13 laps, I think, before I pitted. And, I mean, granted, I did get some assistance by just staying behind someone's DRS. Traffic is super heavy right now for Aston Bah. Right on the racing line, no less. Is that a Haas? Who is it? Oh, Drunken Shamrock. Was that a flying lap? Because he just completely got in the way of Aston Bah. That's unfortunate. Oh, man. I feel bad for Aston Bah. That was indeed a flying lap from him, and Drunken Shamrock just completely got in the way there. Yeah, that's his lap absolutely ruined. Unfortunate. Meanwhile, the Red Bulls are working together here. I can see it right now. Benzo's going on ahead to give Miniko a little bit of a toe here. I think that's the game plan. I mean, if so, I think Benzo's just a little bit too far ahead for that toe to work adequately. I think he should have been just a little bit closer. Still, unless Benzo's on a flyer himself, he would do well to get out of his teammates' way. Okay, no, he's on a flyer as well. Never mind. So, maybe that was a working together moment? I'm not quite sure. Sketchy Bull, meanwhile, is starting a final lap, so let's see if he can push himself into the top 5. All he needs is a mere 4 thousandths, and that is possible. He goes wide through turn 4. Oh, big snap. Oh, no! Sketchy is not going to be pleased. And I know he's going to blame me because he's going to ask me, why did you go on my POV? Why did you do that? And he's gonna blame that for him crashing. I already have a feeling he's typing that out right now. But meanwhile, we have Miniko going through a flying lap. Hitch also in a flying lap, finding minimal improvement. Alan Toast finding some improvement here as he goes through the final corner to cross the line. Has he improved on his lap time? I think he just did. Excuse me, what? No one's gonna come close to that. Miniko isn't going on another lap. That's it. He's done. Alan is too quick here. No one else is coming close. Hang on a second. I think Catch and Cook with his lap. Did he? He did. He puts himself in the top 5. Yellow Snowman goes into the pits, and Kate DePossum is going to go into the pits, and that's going to be the end of qualifying. Alan Toast is, I don't know what witchcraft he is performing in that seat, but he is over 6 tenths clear of the next car. And then after that, the gap is considerably closer, like less than a tenth separating each driver up until Yellow Snowman running out the top 10. And then after that, we have a little bit more of a gap all the way down to Gary. Okay, so, that was kind of insane. That capability from Alan is honestly nuts. At this rate, he's definitely going to be wrapping up another championship for no assists. Although he has had some good competition, and his DNF last time out certainly didn't do him any favors at Hungary. So, I mean, who knows how things may shake up. And, of course, Saudi next week is absolutely a factor. That almost dropped. That might have been bad news. If that were to occur. Perhaps. And, of course, another F1 news. I'm sure everybody's heard about the whole Christian Horner thing. I am not going to really comment on that because, I mean, there's still a lot of uncertainties with it. Although I am convinced that, well, you know, I'm gonna keep that to myself, honestly. Uh, it's complicated. So, I mean, I'm not sure about all that. One thing that I am quite sure about, though, is with everything going on, Ferrari is cooking next year. Like, everything that they have set up, Fred Vasseur has honestly been doing a great job, as well as John Elkann. I mean, recruiting Lewis Hamilton, getting some really good aerodynamics heads, including the one from Mercedes, who Lewis agreed with the whole time, which was honestly like a big factor for Lewis going. And Lewis and Charles as a lineup is terrifying. So terrifying, in fact, that I think it's going to force Red Bull to remove Sergio Perez in favor of a stronger driver. And I think that Yuki and Daniel will be in consideration, but if one of them was to be picked, they would have to destroy the other over the course of the season. And right now, it's looking relatively even. And I think if it stays even, neither of them will be picked. So it really all matters at what happens at RB. Meanwhile, the race is beginning right now. 5 red lights on, and they are out. Alan does not get the ideal start I think he was looking for, because Hitch is still staying right on him and will be able to make a dive on the outside going towards turn 1. He's going to go in and send it, and nobody spun out towards turn 1, so that's a good start at least. Meanwhile, Esteban makes a move on Ketchen. Not entirely done yet, though. They're still side by side, making their way into turn 4. Esteban completes the move and clears past Ketchen. At the same time, we have some movements going on towards the back as there's a few cars bunched up, and cars going side by side through the S is not really advisable here. And we also have a move in the back, Midnight getting past Mr. Old School as he's trying to rebound. Sketchy, meanwhile, getting a little bit swallowed up towards the back. Yellow Snowman going side by side with him. Gets a compromised exit. Yellow, though, cannot complete the move, and Sketchy still remains P8. And is that Snaky Snaky making a move on the inside, attempting to get past Ketchen, and he pulls out the move and almost loses the car in the process. It's Hitch! Oh! Yeah, that's a front wing brake. And he's going to have to go into the pits, but is he stuck? He's beached! And yeah, he reset the track. Now, normally that would be a penalty, but considering his car was beached, I think that is granted an exception. Because otherwise, well, he would have been DSQ'd. Antonball almost losing the car there. These curves are not giving them a good time. MB Jacobson, and that's Mr. Old School spun out, and he's going to have to recover. And that's Border as well. Did he get caught up in that as well? Meanwhile, up ahead, Yellow and Moldy going wheel to wheel. Yellow remains ahead, but Moldy is on the attack. Hitch gets a 5-second penalty for speeding to the pit lane. Just insult to injury there. At the same time, Menico got past Estemba, but Helen Toast is already cleared over a second and is in no threat under DRS, so Menico will have to somehow catch up in full race pace. Drunken Shamrock, meanwhile, going for an aggressive strategy for the soft tires. The one outlier compared to everybody else, most are on mediums, but we do have 7 in total on hard tires, although 5 of those 7 are in the bottom 5. Granted, I think Hitch started on mediums, but he had to switch over to hards after that little spin and subsequent front wing brake. And at the same time, we have Drunken Shamrock starting to gain on Estemba and Menico, and we'll be able to start putting on the pressure. The Softs stay alive for a good 5 laps. Then they start to just kind of average out a little. And then after that, they kind of feel like they're struggling. And then after a little while, it kind of just goes back to normal, and you can just kind of... It's a little slippy, but honestly, it's not that bad, all things considered. I think the soft tires, genuinely not the worst race tire by any means. Like I mentioned before, in Tier 5, I was able to take them 13 laps, and it didn't feel like I was just, like, dying out there or anything. Granted, there was some struggle, but it wasn't incredibly difficult to manage. Esteban, meanwhile, not really struggling too hard to make this overtake on Menico, takes second place. Oh, he runs wide! This could leave him vulnerable, but not quite enough for Menico to sense an opportunity. Menico relinquishes and remains behind, and all that battling is allowing Alan to pull a bigger gap. Something's happened to Gary, I think. Oh, he spun! Oh, his tires are absolutely lit up right now, recovering on the track. He's going to have to take it a little bit slowly and let his tires cool down a bit before he can go full pace again. Meanwhile, we have Menico on the heels of Esteban, thinking about a move on the inside, thinking better of it, and now waiting for a better chance to find a move. And he chose a bit of a better line there. He's going to have a really nice opportunity going to turn 1, especially since Esteban struggled a little bit on the corner exit there. He seems to have... I imagine that Esteban is going for a more oversteery setup, but it might be just a little bit too much oversteer for his own good. because you can see him like slipping and sliding just a little bit out of every single corner. And now Meniko, with the momentum he's got, is going to be able to make a move on the inside, getting alongside. Full car like that, and he is absolutely clear. Drunken Shamrock might be thinking of a move, but he is not. In fact, Miniko locks up, though. This is going to leave him vulnerable to Etsuba to immediately make the move back. This is kind of a similar situation to Charles and Max in 2022, where Max gets ahead in turn 1, Charles gets it back in turn 4. That history will not be repeating here, though, as Miniko remains ahead going into the S's. Drunken Shamrock still keeping up with the two of them just fine, as Sketchy is starting to gain on Yellow Snowman, who is stuck behind Ketchin. Ketchin managing those hard tires quite well and finding a good amount of pace. Still, he's going to want to find a little bit more if he hopes to compete with that top 5. And a little bit further back, oh, something's happened to Midnight. Oh, he took a little bit of a trip in the gravel trap there. That's unfortunate. Man, that's going to be a lot of time lost as X-Man gets the pass on the outside at the same time. MRK, Kate DePossum, and Benza were all duking it out, with Old School also wanting to join in on that party. And looks like it's clear for the moment, although Old School getting close onto Benzo's heels will not be able to make a move. This lower field, that is MRK going wide. Oh, he's got a front wing broken. You can see that end plate missing. It's going to be compromising MRK massively as he gets overtaken by 2 cars, make that 3 in the span of a couple of corners, and I think it may be a 4th here soon enough, with Normbach slowly creeping up behind. Meanwhile, the battle escalates with the top 3, well, not really top 3, but rather 2nd through 5th now, because Snakey is in on this action as well. Esteban gets ahead, but Meniko is going to have a great opportunity here to make a move, as he's now putting in a little bit of battery. I think if he pushed a little bit more with that battery, he would have been able to get alongside, but I think he's just trying to play it a little bit safe and not play too dangerously. We are only about a 1/6 of the way through the race, so there's no need to try and push too hard. Oh, you can see it there, though. Oh, cutting a little bit close. Estempa manages to remain ahead of Miniko, but Miniko, I have a feeling he's thinking of a move somewhere. He's just watching and waiting for any opening to present itself. Estempa putting up a great defense, though, and so 2 of them are actually starting to pull a little bit of a gap, and like I said, soft tires, they would last about this long, and then they would start to wear down a bit. Miniko, he manages the move on the inside and gets ahead. Brilliant. Back up to 2nd place. But again, all this fighting is increasing that gap. Alan is pretty much in his own race now as Snaky gets past Drunken Shamrock, and I think these soft tires are finally starting to kind of decline a little, and it's usually around this point where it does, at least from my experience. And they'll still be manageable, but the pace will be like, it will be a noticeable step down. It's not going to be like super severe where it's like, it just does great and then falls off a cliff. It's not that bad. You're just about a step down, and you can still manage a good amount of pace. Meanwhile, Aston Bob makes the move back on Meniko, and Meniko may be able to get him back going into turn 4, but I have a feeling it's going to be a continuous back and forth for a while. Meniko gets a snap of oversteer, has to course correct the car, and at the same time, Yellow and Sketchy are duking it out. Sketchy is going to get a lot of momentum thanks to that DRS getting alongside, and now it's going to be ahead. Going into turn 4, Yellow may be trying to fight it back, but it's not enough. Sketchy completes the move and now is free to hunt down Ketchin. Yeah, and, oh! Sketchy taking a little bit of a trip there, doing a little bit of drifting there. Manages to save the car, but that is quite a bit of time, and that's going to be some pressure on his tires. That was certainly interesting there. Sketchy, continuing on, is going to have to defend against both Yellow and Moldy, who are quickly closing in. Yellow has a lot of pace. Is he running a lower downforce? I feel like that may be a possibility. Oh, he struggles out of that corner exit, but I definitely feel like he's running lower downforce. Because even with no ERS, that speed difference is absolutely insane. He's got to be running a lower downforce setup. Meanwhile, Snaky is trying to go in for second place. The two of them almost alongside. 3 cars battling it out here with Drunken Shamrock just keeping up right behind. Which, that's essentially, Drunken is basically in the position I was in Tier 5, where I'm just seeing the cars fight on ahead of me and, you know, just keeping up in the DRS. As long as you can just kind of latch yourself on and just keep behind them like that, you'll be able to take those softs for a good while and you won't be losing too much time. So as long as Drunken Shamrock just simply hangs on, they'll be in a great position. At the same time, Sketchy, oh, that's a struggle of an exit there. Moldy is going to have a chance to make a move here, getting his car alongside and ahead. Can he clear him entirely? Yes, he does. And now he's up to P7. So you have multiple battles going on here. This is quite an exciting race. We have a 4-way battle for second place, a 3-way battle for 7th, and meanwhile we have another 3-way battle for 13th place. And Sketchy looking about getting a move there, but he's not going to be able to pull that off, which honestly, kind of a smart move to hold back for now, because he's going to get a golden opportunity thanks to some DRS. He's already going to be alongside. He's going to fully clear that Williams by the time they get to turn 1. And actually, despite the fighting, Yellow is starting to drop back and fade away a little bit. So that fighting will be able to help out. And meanwhile, Minico has a bit of a moment. Snaky has to slow down a little bit or crash into the back of him. And now Alan has pulled 5 seconds. And, wow. Alan is kind of looking like Max Verstappen right now. Drunken Shamrock is starting to lose some touch with with second through fourth. But as long as they keep battling, he'll be able to remain in range. He's almost out of that DRS gap, though, which isn't good news for him, because if that continues, he will be swallowed up by catching behind. Meanwhile, though, I have a feeling this battle is going to intensify just a little bit more as we head towards turn 1. Esteban flips and slides a little bit. So I definitely do think his oversteer is perhaps a little bit too strong. Meanwhile, Snaky gets alongside and ahead of the Red Bull by the time they get to turn 1. Esteban senses an opportunity to make a move as well, but Minico is not giving that place up without a fight, and he has to remain behind. Snaky, though, in danger of losing that P2 he just gained. Make that P3 as well, as both cars get ahead. He slots himself back into 4th place, and Drunken Shamrock just simply continues hanging on behind. And taking this off for 9 laps, already a good run. I mean, ideally, around like lap 13 is a good time to pit for medium tires, but if he can continue to manage, he should be just fine. But he's burned up a lot of his battery in the process. Snaky as well. Meanwhile, Minico has a ton of battery that he simply hasn't been using. He is at almost... I gotta check this. There's no way this man is at 90%. Show me the telemetry. Okay, he's not. Still, he's at 86%, which is absolutely insane. He's been doing all of this fighting while holding back by a considerable margin. Thinking running a little bit wide, that's going to be a track limit warning. And track limit penalties, I mean, the easiest spots to get them is around that corner that Snaky just ran wide at. And particularly at turn 2 or 3 if you cut the corners a little bit too hard. Meanwhile, Esteban clears Minico yet again as he makes his way up into 2nd place. Oh, and Minico struggles. So does Esteban. Yeah, he's running way too much oversteer for his own good. Esteban is not having a good time with his setup. We're gonna run him board with Miniko out of this corner, and you can see like his car turns in so sharply, like Esteban is basically like attempting to ride a bull by the horns, and it is about to toss him off at every single corner. Like that! Once again, like that's a huge amount of oversteer as Miniko runs a little bit wide. Yeah, you can see it there again, yeah. Esteban is just oversteering on every corner exit, and it's just compromising his entire race because of it. And so every single corner, he's having to course correct. Well, almost every single corner. He didn't have to do it there. But still, like, that oversteer is way too strong. Well, because his corner exits are compromised, Miniko is able to keep up with very little effort. And I mean, look at that. He's not using any battery, and he's still keeping up just fine. Esteban runs a little bit wide on that corner exit. Miniko, he's not even going to need to use any battery to get himself alongside and ahead of Esteban by the time we get to turn 1. Sneaky looking to perhaps catch up and make a move. Late braking from the Ferrari! Almost a little bit too late, but just enough. Meanwhile, Drunken Shamrock has fully lost touch now. And yeah, I think those soft tires have fully died out on him, as well as his battery. Oh, and a lot of position changes going on, and well, that's due to pit stops. Lap 10 is very early. Oh, Kate Possum is absolutely doing a two-stopper. And Multi-Dragon going for a one-stop on the hards. And lap 11 is really early. Those hards are going to be struggling by the end. Well, then again, if he is smart and if he doesn't do full push and manages the tire somewhat, he should be fine. But, anyways, back up. Oh, we're going to take a look at this real quick. Yellow Snowman makes a move on Sketchy Bull. He's now up to P7. And Miniko is still ahead and appears to be gaining a little bit of ground on both Esteban and Snaky. Meanwhile, Drunken Shamrock, he's finally out of range, and Ketchin is now gaining on him. Now, Drunken Shamrock could pit right now on this lap and pull it off. Yeah, and he's doing it right now. There we go. Oh, that's a huge snap there. You know, this early, I think it'll be better for him to maybe go for hard tires, I think, instead of medium. But let's see which tire he's going to go for. He seems to agree with me because he's also going for the hard tires, and he'll be able to finish on that set. Still, I think if he managed those tires for a lap or two longer, I think medium tires would be doable. Oh, Drunken Shamrock does not get into an ideal spot as he exits the pits. Mr. Old School gets a little bit ahead. Oh, but that was a huge slip from Old School. Drunken Shamrock just immediately flies past. Meanwhile, Alan has increased the gap even further. He's just running his own race at this point. Nothing else really matters for him. Okay. Anyways. Looks like the battle between Yellow and Sketchy is still ongoing. Sketchy actually has way more battery over Yellow. Snaky is the first one of those second or fourth to pit. And looks like Ketchin may just get ahead. Those hard tires, I mean, they are going to be helping him out, and he will be on an advantage on that final stint, but he's not managing his battery well at all. Meanwhile, Snaky, well, not Snaky, Sketchy is attempting a dive on the inside of Yellow, attempting to make a move here. He's alongside here, and he's going to get DRS. They almost come together, but Sketchy, with the aid of DRS, is going to be able to put himself Oh, never mind! Oh, yellow goes wide! This is gonna allow Sketchy to get through. That's the move. Sketchy is now up into P5, but on strategy, he will not remain P5, and he is going to drop down a little bit. At the same time, Estenbach gets past Minico, but like I said, with Estenbach's setup, I mean, maybe he has damage? I don't know. Maybe he has damage, or he made a mistake on his setup, because, again, he oversteers so strongly throughout every single corner. At the same time, Yellow gets past Sketchy once again. Their duel just is going on consistently. Also, at the same time, Old School is gaining on MV Jacobson. Now, the medium tire is going to be struggling around now, but this is also a prime time to pit. Estenbach seems to think so as well. Minico is going to take it a lap longer, which I don't blame him. In this game, it does appear that the oversteer, well, not, what did I really almost say oversteer? Oh my god. Overcut is a word I'm looking for. The overcut is more powerful in this game than the undercut, in my opinion. Sneaky, yep, the 3-second time penalty. I did point out earlier that he did exceed track limits earlier, so that was somewhat inevitable. Meanwhile, Sketchy, he's going to have an opportunity to get past Yellow here again. Yellow has no battery left to his name, while Sketchy still has over 50%, but he's simply not using it right now. And I'm not sure as to why. I mean, he's going to get a lot of battery pack once he pits, and he's going to pit this lap. It'll be good that when you enter the pits, you get in ahead of him. But maybe Sketchy is playing a bit of the long game here. Yellow goes wide. That's it. This is Sketchy's perfect chance to get past, and he does so. Now up into 4th place. Yellow looking to strike back. Oh, Sketchy loses the car! I already know. After this race, next time I talk to Sketchy, he's gonna talk to me. He's gonna, why did you put your camera on me at any point? Anytime you did, I got ruined. Meanwhile, Wenfro making his way around. He's looking for a chance to perhaps get past Old School and into a points placing position. But I mean, this is the lap for everybody to pit. Alan is he's doing a medium soft. He's doing a medium soft. So is Minico. They're both doing a medium soft run. That's the only reason why they're extending this long. Hedge and pits. Wait. Oh yeah. No. That's valid. That's valid. Yellow and Sketchy are both pitting now. Both are pitting for hard tires. And those will make it to the end no problem. And the battle between them will continue. Question is, who's winning out of the pits? Alright, looks like it's Yellow. And yeah, both Alan and Minico are absolutely going for the soft tire strategy here. And that's a Has. Oh, that's Gary. Took a couple signs out. Yeah, the field is really scattered right now. And Estenbach gets a 3-second time penalty! Suddenly the battle between Snaky and Estenbach has gotten very even. Now, one other thing. These two are undercutting right now, and will be able to... And while once Minico comes out of the pits, he's going to be behind them. But, according to his strategy, he's going to be on soft tires. Why did you do it? Okay. Whatever. Anyways, Minico is going to be on soft tires, and so, I mean, it's going to be like 2 steps faster than the hard tires, if that's what I was thinking. So, that's going to be a great advantage, but he's going to have to press it. But Snaky and Estenbach, I mean, they're both on the same playing field, so you know those two are going to just go all out against each other. Estenbach is going to do his best to try and catch up and make a move here. Seems to be controlling the car a little bit better now under these hard tires. I think he's going to manage better since they're fresher tires. Yeah, fastest lap of the race. That's enough evidence to say the least. As he's now gaining rapidly. Is he going for a dive at turn 1? There's no way. Okay, good. I would have called him absolutely insane if he did attempt a move like that. Oh, and he just clears past Snaky. Snaky doesn't even attempt to fight that too hard at all. And Snaky is now just going to be losing ground. He's not enjoying these hard tires at all. Estenbach is fully clearing him. Oh, never mind. Yeah, you can see Esteban just continuing to slip throughout every single corner exit. He's having to make like minor adjustments, but and well, that's allowing Sneaky to keep up. And a couple seconds have been gained on Meniko, who, I mean, I think these mediums are fully shot for him by now. And Alan, meanwhile, is a full 10 seconds ahead. This is just dominance at this point. And Miniko finally makes his way into the pits. The soft tires will be able to make it to the end, but Alan, he seems to be just fine and is extending even further. Miniko going in for the soft tires, and he's now going to make his way out. Now he is going to be coming out potentially behind Drunken Shamrock, as Esteban puts in another fast slab. These hard tires are doing him a whole load of favors. And there's Miniko out of the pits. He is about 5 seconds behind Esteban and Snaky. So if he wants to get a P2 fully on merit, he's going to have some work to do. If he doesn't care and just wants to reap the rewards of the time penalties, he only needs to gain 3 seconds. And with the soft tires, and they have slightly used hards, that pace difference is going to be absolutely massive. At the same time, the battle between Sketchy and Yellow continues. Yellow remaining just ahead of Sketchy. They've been duking it out the entire race, and they are still doing such. At the same time, Miniko, with his tires now a little bit warmed up, has gained over half a second on Drunken Shamrock already. And I suspect by the end of the next 2 laps, he'll be ahead. Sketchy, meanwhile, gets ahead of Yellow going into this next corner here. These two, I mean, I'm kind of surprised there hasn't been a clear winner. These two are relatively even in terms of pace. Alan finally pits going for a set of soft tires. And Alan is so fully clear, by the time he exits, he's still going to be in the lead. This is going to be a grand slam. This is going to be a grand slam. Yep. This is going to be a grand slam performance from Alan. Complete dominance. Got pole, started first, finished he led every single lap. This is going to be a grand slam from Alan. At the same time, Sketchy on the heels of Yellow is going to be able to make a move on the outside. That DRS giving him a helping hand as now he gets alongside, looking to get ahead as they make their way through turn 4. Yellow just is way leader on the brakes. In the meantime, Miniko is now starting to get in range of Drunken Shamrock, and by the end of the next lap, should be fully ahead, especially since Drunken has no battery left to his name, and looks like the connection isn't looking too hot either right now. As Miniko is going to be looking for a chance to make a move here. He's not going to have to try too hard on this one. Drunken isn't even trying to fight it either. He knows it's inevitable. No point in fighting it. Miniko goes on ahead, and now Drunken Shamrock, if he plays his cards right, should be able to stick himself along the back of Miniko, just using the DRS to help himself be pushed along as well. Although Miniko, if he wants to beat Esteban Sneaky on merit, he's going to need to pull 5.5 seconds in the next 11 laps. So he's going to have to average half a second a lap. At the same time, Yellow and Sketchy once again battling. Sketchy is a little bit too far back to potentially make a move. Meanwhile, Border finally pits, and he's going to go for a set of soft tires to finish up the race. Meanwhile, Allen gets past Gary as Gary has now been lapped. That is unfortunate for him. Meanwhile, Gwenfro and Mr. Old School duking it out. Old School gets ahead as they go into the S's and just a little bit further up. Benzo and Jacobson are battling out as well as Hitch and Midnight, all for that final points position. Sketchy is just ahead of Yellow, but we do have a battle ongoing here for the final points position. And yeah, Allen puts in an incredible lap there. And this is it. This is Hitch's opportunity to get past. But the two of them, they have yet to pit. Midnight has been I think Midnight has been gambling on a safety car to occur, and it's just not happening. Midnight needs to pit this lap, and that's going to put him out of the points as well as Hitch. I think they have both miscalculated on strategy. Snaky gets another time penalty. That is absolutely brutal. 6 seconds to his name. Sandman. He says Snaky and Estemba are teammates in almost every series they got. Really now? And, well, they're a little bit too far back to fight each other now. As Miniko is now in range to get a P3, but if he wants to get a P2, he needs to catch up a little bit further. He still has plenty of laps left to go, but those soft tires only have so much life in them. He needs to make the most of it and push on further. Yeah, I think he made a mistake and fell out of DRS. Okay. Yeah, that's fully compromised Snaky at this point. And you can see a little bit of lap traffic starting to come up. Hitch is still going on these hard tires. Hitch, I'd hate to break it to you, but if you're hoping for a safety car, it ain't happening. You gotta pit. You have to pit. You are legally required to pit in a Formula 1 race. Unless it's wet weather. And, I am not seeing any rain. He's still going! Why? 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 I mean, at this point, he has nothing to lose, I guess. Besides, yeah, okay, fair enough. I mean, he has nothing to lose. Meanwhile, Jacobson gets past Old School, but who's that diving in Glenbrook? Absolutely sends it. Oh, it's getting close here between these three. There's no way they're going 3 wide here, are they? They're going 3 wide in this corner! Oh, Old School gets in a little bit too aggressive for his own good, loses out entirely, and is down to 14th place. Meanwhile, Miniko is finally in range of Snaky, and he's going to be able to get a nice helping of DRS. That rear wing finally open, as he's now going to inch ever closer and potentially make a move pass. And he is also now within that 3-second range to beat Esteban, as well as, oh, that's a hatch locking up. I think that's scary. Oh, Miniko has a bit of a moment himself there. Everybody's having a hard time through those first 3 corners. Meanwhile, Old School gets past MB Jacobson, and he's starting to drop back just a little bit. And Sketchy and Yellow battling once again. Yellow goes on the inside. Sketchy's going to attempt to switch back here to get himself alongside. This is a great setup for Sketchy. He's already slightly ahead, and he's going to get DRS on top of that, but Yellow has consistently outbraked him into turn 4. Yellow isn't fighting it this time, though. But there's a switch back from Yellow! They're going side by side through the S's. Who's going to come out on top here? Looks like Yellow relinquished just a little bit. Sketchy completes the move and is up to P7. What? They both switch back to each other. That's crazy. Meanwhile, Midnight gets past the border. Come on, gets another time penalty. Okay. Well, Miniko doesn't need to try anymore. He can just have a good old time, and he gets a free second place. That's it. That's it, everybody. And I gotta say, I'm impressed. No safety cars at all. There were no full safety cars in Tier 5 either, so I mean, then again, it is the nature of Bahrain. Everybody knows Bahrain, so mistakes are unlikely to occur. Where's Williams? Is it midnight? It's midnight. That's unfortunate. Meanwhile, Yellow and Sketchy duking it out again. Sketchy had a big mistake there, and he's out of DRS range, and he gets it back immediately. The battle between these two is still not over. Meanwhile, Hitch finally pits, and his gamble has, in fact, not paid off. And that is Payton getting ahead of his teammate there. Now up to 16th place. And Sketchy's once again back in range of Yellow and is in a good spot to potentially make a move. I mean, looking at the long game between these two, Sketchy has the edge in terms of battery conserving. And so we'll be able to have an advantage in these final few laps, but he needs to be pressing it soon. He is starting to run out of time. At the same time, Ketchen gets past Drunken Shamrock to take 5th place. Those medium tires are serving him well. And at the same time, Miniko still does not want Sneaky. Sneaky's been keeping up just fine. Yeah, one other thing, we will not be doing Season 11 on this game. Due to the time frame, there wouldn't be enough time to do a full 10-race season to do Season 11 for the new... So you'll be pushing that forward into the new game. So you're going to have kind of an extended break going on here soon. And while there's been a proposition of activities, I have proposed a Wreckfest Championship because... for the simple reason of I think it would be funny. I think it would be really funny if we just did a Wreckfest Championship just as like a break championship. Maybe we could even do like a Wreckfest Demolition Derby tournament style thing. I don't know. I'm just spitballing. Meanwhile, we have a battle resuming between Ketch and Drunken Shamrock. That's 9 seconds for Sneaky. That is 9 seconds. He is not doing himself any favors. If he loses touch with Miniko, and if he gets one more penalty, he's going to drop down to P6. Meanwhile, Miniko, he's just trying to keep up with Eston, but well, he doesn't really need to, actually. Never mind, Eston has 6 seconds of penalties. Miniko is just fine. Even if he had 3 seconds, it would be fine. Meanwhile, we have... That's Midnight getting past Gary, I think? Midnight goes wide a little bit through turn 4, has a bit of a struggle there. I think that's Gary letting by Moldy Dragon. Yes, it is. Okay. Oh, Drunken Shamrock has a snap of oversteer there. That's going to leave him vulnerable to Ketchen. He's going to be looking for a chance here. Yeah, he's going to be able to put on some brilliant pressure. and find a way through, perhaps, with the aid of some DRS, that rear wing opening up. And, statistically, fun fact, for real life Formula One, every single team, every single team has managed to find at least a few tenths, going from Bahrain last year to this year. Alpine has gained one tenth in the span of a year. McLaren has found 1.3 seconds. They found 1/10. One. Uno. Like, Aston Martin's why? It's 9 seconds. Esteban and Snakey really do not like the track limits here. Snakey doesn't like being on the track at all, it seems, because there he goes all the way off. Miniko is literally getting the freest second place I've ever seen. Like, again, he doesn't even need to work for this. It's just being dropped into his lap. At the same time, it seems Alan has actually lost some time to a couple of the cars. But then again, why does he need to worry about it? He's like 8 seconds clear. He can manage his tires. He can just kind of pull back a little bit. He doesn't really need to push too hard. You know, why stress yourself? And you can just cruise along. He already got fastest lap. He's got a full Grand Slam. Okay, a full Grand Slam. Like, the dominance is so good, it's frustrating. That's when you know it's a good performance. Meanwhile, Ketchen gets past Drunken Shamrock once again. Yellow and Sketchy duking it out once more. Yellow gets past. And, Sketchy, you have over 50% and you have 2 laps left to go. Please make the most of it. Meanwhile, Gary puts in the fastest lap of the race. Gary puts in the fastest lap of the race and he's all the way down in P20. Oh. Meanwhile, he and Midnight are duking it out for 19th place. Gary's alongside. Can he get ahead with no battery left going into turn 4? You're still alongside. Can Gary... They come together! No! Oh. I think that's Benzo going past. Yes, that was Benzo, because Gwenfro and Old School are starting to come up, and are they almost side by side? I don't understand what's going on anymore. I really don't. Sketchy, meanwhile, still holding back on the battery, while Yule has none left. Sketchy, please, you have over 50%. Just go past. You have 2 laps left to go on this. Like, this is it. Just dump down the straight. Clear him. And he's still holding back. He's still holding back. Why? Why? Okay, he's alongside. He would have been able to fully clear Yellow and give himself a much easier time if he just used some of the battery. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now he can use some of his battery and start to clear him as Hitch gets a time penalty. And Sketchy can... Okay. Well, Sketchy's fully ahead, and now he can use the battery to start building a gap, perhaps, you know, because he has over 50% and he's not using it. Now, I would say, like, if you're just in a bit of a no man's land situation, that'd be one thing. But when you're actively fighting another driver, like... Come on, there's a time to hold back and there's a time to go all out. This is a time to go all out when you have over 50% of your battery left. Like, that is, what, 65? Yeah, that was 65% battery he had, and only now is he dumping it. Okay, so if he keeps dumping, he may be able to pull a full second on Yellow and then be clear of DRS. Actually, I think he is about to do that at long last. Meanwhile, Stinky gets past Miniko. I mean, at the end of the day, it's really not that big of a deal because they both have 9-second penalties, that being Esteban Snakey having 9-second penalties, so this will not matter. Miniko still wants to beat Snakey on merit, though. Sneaky move on the inside. And... Ooh, a little bit of a close call between the two. As Miniko, they're going side by side here. Snaky, come on, man. This is not a battle to be fighting. He's fighting it. He's trying to switch back. What? Meanwhile, Drunken gets past Sketchin and is at the P5 now on the final lap. Drunken Chairmark, I think, is fully secured. 5th place for himself. Meanwhile, Drunken Chairmark, he's still holding off Ketchin. Ketchin has one last opportunity to get past, and it's really going to be down this straight. And I don't think it's happening. Hitch gets another time penalty for speeding the... he retired. Okay, then. Meanwhile, Alan, with an incredibly dominant performance, wins the Bahrain Grand Prix. Yeah, just flawless. What can I say? It was flawless. Literally nothing put wrong. Baha, meanwhile, crosses the line and will be taking only 3rd because he got 9 seconds of penalties. And Miniko gets a 2nd place. Snaky gets 4th and is just off the podium. Drunken Shamrock, meanwhile, crosses the line, rounding out the top 5, catching just losing out on that 5th place. Only a couple tenths back. Meanwhile, Sketchy is going to ultimately win that race-long duel between himself and Yellow Snowman after finally using the over half a battery that he was holding back the entire time. Moldy Dragon is going to be finishing 9th with Benzo, rounding out the points-placing positions. And Hitch had a race that I think he wants to forget after everything that just occurred. Alright, so we're just going to be waiting for the top 3 to come in for post-race interviews. And Esteban doesn't do interviews, if I'm correct, so... I gotta say, though, I'm very impressed by everybody. No VSCs, no safety cars, just fully clean. Okay, Miniko, can you hear me? Okay, what a race you had. I mean, you just saw Alan just waltz off into the distance, never to be seen again. Meanwhile, you had to deal with a consistent battle with Aston Boss, Snakey, and Drunken Shamrock for a brief period. But still, you had to do a lot of fighting and managed to keep everything clean. And I mean, you had P2 practically dropped into your lap after the both of them got 9 seconds penalties each. But still, another great result, another podium, another P2. How do you deal with all that? Yeah.
just like, especially going wheel to wheel through the twisty section between myself and Snakey. That was a lot of fun. And yeah, I mean, I can't really complain. Obviously, it was a bit dulled out due to the fact that they had penalties, but either way, it was still very, very nice to just have that battle and yeah, and get P2 in the end.
Yeah, I mean, great result. Any plans or strategies going into Saudi Arabia?
Not crash. I think
Yeah.
everybody's plan.
Yeah, I think for some people, their plans will not go to plan.
Probably me, because I do fully expect a DNF.
Yeah, Saudi is... Ugh. Oh boy.
Yeah, been there.
Yeah. I mean, on the bright side, you don't have to
survive. Then like maybe I could get a podium.
Yeah, I mean, on the bright side, you don't have to deal with missile strikes in game.
I don't know about that one. Maybe not actual missile strikes, but in terms of like cars that are missile strikes,
Yeah,
say anything about that.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, thanks for your time.
And see ya.
Yep, see ya. All right, and finally, last but certainly not least, Alan. Okay, Alan, can you hear me?
Hello.
Okay, so for your race, it really isn't much to be said. I mean, you got pole, started first, went into the lead, led every single lap, had fastest lap until Gary stole it, but
Cheeky bastard.
Yeah, still, I mean, that was pretty much a grand slam. I mean, technically you needed to get fastest lap as well, but Gary stole that.
We can just pretend.
Well, I'd say, considering the circumstances of, like, you know, we only do 50% races, I will say that's close enough. Still absolutely incredible. And just flawless. Any plans or strategies going into Saudi next week?
No. Hopefully I have the same pace.
Yeah, because I mean, like, you just immediately after turn 1, that was it. That was over. That was basically Max Verstappen at Bahrain this week. Like, you were gone. Great performance, and I mean, at this point, if you continue like that, the championship is all but yours.
Hopefully, let's just hope it keeps
yeah,
stays like that.
All right, yeah. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
All right, that's going to be the end of what was an interesting Bahrain Grand Prix. I think Saudi is going to be a little bit more interesting, and by interesting, I mean an absolutely chaotic race is going to be coming. But we'll be finding out next week, so we'll be seeing you all then. I've been Mountain Mage, and we'll be seeing you all next time.